Welcome back, everyone, to round 3 of the Preserve Championship. This is the final round. We're in Clearwater, Minnesota at Kale LaVisca's new course. This is the first time we're all seeing it, and it's sitting right on the Mississippi River. It is gorgeous. So the first 2 rounds, I played really well. I played at 10 under par and then a 9 under par, so I'm sitting at 19 under. My closest competitor is my good friend Missy Gannon at 11 under, and Katrina right behind her at 10 under. So during the final round with the 8-stroke lead, I do think about maybe taking my foot off the gas a little bit, but not necessarily, at least until about 6 holes left. I'm going to play at least the first 12 holes as good as I can and continue trying to get birdies. I don't want to take it easy ever. I always want to continue to push myself, but the tournament win is important for sure. So, hole 1, it's a par 4, 615 feet. Main objective, throw it as far as I can. And today there wasn't a whole lot of wind, so I am going with my Zeus on this one. Hyzer flip up to flat and just trying to stay on that right side like I talked about. I don't want to get close to the pond at all. This one, I'll just have a straight shot right across to the green. Throwing my Crystal Fierce and just trying to keep it low under the branches and not give myself too far of a putt. Good birdie to start the round out, and I was able to capitalize on that hole all 3 rounds, so I feel good about hole 1. Hole 2, 284 feet. It's a par 3. Right off the tee, it's a super small gap, so it does get into your head, but I just try to tell myself, throw it very straight, just like you threw your last approach. Pretend there are no trees there, and if you put the right amount of speed on it, it should nestle right by the basket. This is my Crystal Fierce again. And I will not have too far of a putt at all, so I'll drop in another birdie here on hole 2. Hole 3, 324 feet. It's a par 3. This one is a very well-designed par 3. I really enjoyed the challenge on this one. There's nothing in your way, no trees, no OB, but if you do hyzer out too early or you put a little too much nose up on it, if the disc is losing speed, you choose your disc incorrectly, it is going to filter down that hill and there's OB way down to the left. I'm throwing the Crystal Fierce for this exact reason. I don't want that fade out at the end. I just want my straightest flying disc, and I'm going to have about a 20-foot putt looking back at the basket. I want to give a quick shout out to GKPro. They are the people that are giving me this footage. They're filming the women all year long, and they have agreed to give me these clips to put together for you guys so you can get a little inside look on what goes on in my mind on these shots during big tournaments. Hole 4, 630 feet. It's a par 4. This one, it is in a tunnel, but it's pretty open. It's bigger than it looks. So off the tee, you don't really have to worry about hitting any trees, but you do want to make sure that you get it nice and flat. If you turn it too much or you don't turn it enough, you could find some OB on either left or right. The main challenge, though, comes in on the second shot because it does drop down and it is on an elevated basket. So you want to make sure you have good speed control there. So like I said, it's very windy. You can see my shirt flapping this round. I'm throwing my most overstable Zeus on an Anheuser release, and it comes out very strong even still with that release. I'm going to be on the left side and having to throw kind of like a touch hyzer, pretty straight, but I want that little bit of fade at the end. And this was my Banger GT. And this will be the closest I've been on this hole for the birdie. And I've started 4 for 4. Feel really good about this so far. And now we're moving into the second part of the course. After hole 4 is a long walk over to hole 5. And this side of the course gets quite a bit longer. You can see this one's 910 feet. It's a par 5. And it's kind of like a dog leg around the corner, but it's pretty open. The main thing I'm thinking about on this tee pad is keeping my drive as left as possible, but still getting that full flight out of it. If I do get it far enough, I can potentially go for an eagle on the second shot, but it is still really far. So this is my straighter Zeus. I don't want to throw my most overstable one here because I want that full flight. But this one just came out so nose up. I was getting a little too greedy. My footwork was a little too fast and made my timing go off. I'm going to be on the left side, but this tall grass is still safe. And actually being this far left is not bad at all. I can see well around the corner. But I don't get the disc quite far enough to get up there for an eagle. I will have a relatively easy birdie if I can get this Crystal Fierce close. This is about 150 feet away. And another shout out to my Patreons for helping me create this content on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Hole 6, 297 feet. It's a par 3. This one you have to carry water for about 215 feet. And then there is this backboard of trees. So it's a really about distance control on this one. You don't want to go too far or you won't have a putt. But if you come up short, you will be out of bounds and having to go to the drop zone. So for me, I know this is good distance for my Crystal Fierce. So I'm just throwing it a little bit left of the basket on a slight anhyzer and just letting it glide over on that angle. And that will be a tap-in birdie. A really good round started so far. I'm 6 under through 6 holes. And I know that if I can just keep pace, if I stay on top of the box, I don't have to worry about my lead. Just stay on the top of the box. I'm not thinking about the scores right now. I'm just thinking about getting more birdies and trying to shoot a nice round. Hole 7, 240 feet. It's a par 3. This one is such a weird shape. It's like a backwards C up this hill, through a tight gap, back down the hill, and it's hanging from a tree. So this one I haven't had success on the past 2 rounds. And I'm looking to get a little bit closer today, or to at least hit the gap so I don't have to scramble. This is a Ringer GT. I went out after the round and practiced this hole a few times, and that was the disc I felt most comfortable hitting the gap with. A little too low though, and I will have to lay up from about 60 feet. No chance of me running that putt. Hole 8, the second par 5. It's 1,000 feet, and this one pretty close to the same story as the last par 5. You want to get as far as you can and on the left, so then you can see around the corner. The second shot, or your third shot, depending on how you want to break down the hole, does bring that OB on the left into play. So you really do need to have a set game plan so you're not thinking, oh, should I go for it? Should I not? For me, I have practiced both at this moment, but I think I'm going to play it safe and try to protect this lead a little bit. This is my Surge SS out wide on the left side, and it scoots into the tall grass, but the tall grass isn't that hindering. I should have a relatively easier run up from here. This is my Tour Series Buzz. Trying to throw it towards the tree line and just let it hyzer just a little bit. It's got a nice stable finish. And from here, I'm throwing my Zeus on a sidearm into the green. You guys probably don't see me throw a sidearm too often, but I was practicing and about this distance I feel very comfortable. Any farther than that is not good for me, but that was about 320 feet. And I will capitalize on that 35 footer and take the birdie 4. Feel really good about that sidearm approach in to get that birdie. It is something that where you don't feel your confidence level super high and you succeed on the shot, it just builds that confidence moving forward in your tournament and also the whole year. So this one is a par 3. It's 284 feet, and this one just anything but deep. There is bunkers back there, and you don't want to be in the bunkers putting up. They are safe though. So that one just came out a little bit early. I'm going to be on the left side, right about pin high, looking at about a 33 footer, 34 footer, I guess, because I jump putted. Just a tiny bit low, and I will have this left to save par. Ooh, a little bit high, but it went in. And I'm happy with that one. That was a tester. It kind of rolled backwards. Hole 10, 269 feet. It's a par 3. This one, again, about distance control. If you land too fast, you are going to skip. This green is very fast. So I'm throwing my Crystal Fierce here, just trying to get that elevator down and have it rest right where it hits the ground. And this one was a little bit too turned over, but I hit that tree and kicked down. I'm right at circle's edge on the right side. And a big putt there. My putting this weekend so far has been incredible. I missed one circle 1 putt on hole 4 in the first round and haven't missed another one since. I've made a lot of jump putts as well. So I think that has been the key so far to my success at the Preserve Championship. Hole 11, 667 feet. It's a par 4. This one, I'm just trying to throw it as far as I can, but making sure it's low and on an anhyzer, because this one does slightly go downhill. And you want to try to match the angle of the slope. If you do, you will be able to get your full flight. For me, this one hung a little bit too long on that anhyzer angle, so I'm going to be pinched on the right side. I'm actually grabbing my putting Fierce here because of that protoplastic is flippier. I'm having to go really wide on an anhyzer, and I just hit that last tree and it drops me down outside of circle 2. So from here, part of me did want to go for it. Part of me didn't, but I told myself, why not try? Have a little fun here. Try to make something special happen. But I miss and leave myself about a 25 footer. And I'm very happy to capitalize on that after just telling you guys my putting has been my best part of my game so far this week. So it's fun to be able to know I can run those putts and not worry about the comebacker. That has a lot of significance on hitting those longer putts if you're not scared of the comebacker. So hole 12, 296 feet, right at the Mississippi River. This par 3 is very low ceiling, and if you go a little bit too wide, you're going to hit this wood line and drop down. I've made the same mistake all 3 rounds, and I'm going to drop down outside of circle 2 again on this one. So from just outside circle 2, giving it a little bit, but a little bit low. I'm okay with that miss though, because if I would have got it too much higher, it could have gone into the river deep of the basket. All right, leaderboard check-in. So I am 9 under through 12 holes. And Katrina is 8 under through 12 holes. So both of us are shooting really hot. Lots of birdies out here on this course and not too much OB trouble. So we can really be aggressive with our long drives And now hole 13, it's the most different hole, I would say. It's one of the few that, on the par threes at least, that finishes to the right. So you have to throw a hyzer flip, or if you have the sidearm, you could throw a sidearm shot as well. For me, I'm throwing my Undertaker on a severe hyzer flip. I really have to commit to the power, though, to get it to flip over. Can see I'm really focusing on where I want the disc to fly towards, but it just comes out a little bit early, and I'm going to find a different gap than I was intending. And actually, I'm pretty happy with that one. That was kind of a lucky break there, missing my line, but still getting through all that. And I cannot convert from about 55 feet, so I will settle for the par again here on hole 13. Did not get the birdie on this one this week, but I'm excited to give it another chance next year at the Preserve Championship. Hole 14, 660 feet. It's a par 4. This one has gotten my number. It's just in my head. My scores haven't been so bad, but this OB on the left side, especially with the slope going downhill towards that OB, really starts to pull your disc downhill down towards it. So I'm grabbing my Zeus here, and I'm telling myself, just throw it really hard, throw it far. At least if you go OB, you're way down there OB. And I finally just commit to the shot and finally find the fairway, but I'm way down on the right side. Going with my Crystal Fierce from here. Trying to get that out there on an anhyzer and just get that glide towards the basket. So that would be my first birdie of this hole on the tournament. So I feel very good about getting hole 14 on the final round. Hole 15, 703 feet, par 4. Wide open second shot, but the first shot is the one that's in my head. It's a very narrow gap, and it's also very short vertically as well. So just making sure I hit my target spot. If I could put a hula hoop in the middle of this gap, I'm just trying to slice it right through that hula hoop, right perfectly in the center, and that was a well-executed shot. A little bit too much anhyzer, but I did hit my intended target, so I'm happy with it. Now I'm going to be on the right side of the fairway, so that actually this might even be better because that big tree is not in my way. I'm throwing my buzz from here, and I put a little too much hyzer on it. It doesn't get fully up to flat, and I'll find myself a little bit short, right about 40 feet. And don't quite get my putt high enough, so I will settle for another par on this hole 15. All right, hole 16, it's 378 feet. It's a par 3. This one's got my number the past 2 rounds. The early release to the left has left me short and not able to get the birdie. So today I'm focusing on getting it flat and trying to get up onto this mound so that I have a short putt at the basket. If I am on the left or the right, there are those 2 trees. So you want to make sure you're either short of the basket or deep of the basket. So today I throw my most overstable Zeus, and I'm trying to get it wide and get that skip shot in, but it lands with a little bit too much hyzer and kind of skips over there to the left. I'm left with this just outside the circle putt, and this was just kind of a poor release. The weird footing and just my timing was off, so it kind of made me throw that a little bit hyzer nose up. But again, like I said, I'm just feeling really confident on the putting green, so I'm able to capitalize on that 25-foot comebacker. Hole 17, 269 feet. It's a par 3. Very tight tunnel for the first 2/3 of the hole, and then it gets to this open little green But if you go too far past the basket, there is a water hazard. This is my Crystal Fierce. And just hit the last tree on the right, kicks me down to the end of the tunnel, and just kind of laughing it off with my friend Missy, who is making fun of me for not being able to hit the tunnel any of the 3 rounds. But I just throw a jump putt up there, and we'll have this 20-foot putt to save par. All right, so hole 18, final hole of the tournament, par 5. You guys know I've been trying to get this eagle on this hole, so today is no different. It would be so awesome to close this tournament out with an eagle. What I really need to do right now is get my Surge SS off the tee with a lot of anhyzer and get as far down as I can to make this second shot across the pond more feasible. The second shot over the pond is a little bit blind. You can't see the entire pond, so you have to trust it, trust your disc, and know if you put it far enough right, it will get over the land quicker than if you throw it too far left. So Surge SS, a lot of anhyzer, getting that hyzer finish, but I gave it a little too much room to work with on the right, so I'm going to be in the tall grass and a little bit on a downslope, so I cannot go for the eagle from here. It would just be silly. So I decided to throw my Crystal Fierce just onto the old ball golf green and go for the birdie from here. I used my rangefinder. It was about 310 feet. So I'm throwing my Tour Series Buzz. And what a perfect way to finish. This was underneath the basket, and I couldn't have asked for more. Such a fun tournament. One of my best putting tournaments of all time. Every round was over 1,000 rated, so this was a monumental win for me, and I'm so excited to be presented with this Bear trophy. Thank you so much, Kale, for having us at your new property. Thank you, GKPro, for this awesome coverage. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to my Patreons for making this possible. And make sure you guys subscribe and hit the bell for alerts so that you guys know when the next tournament drops. I'll be releasing D-Glow next week. Thank you.